Thank you, Christoph. Thank you very much, Mr. Infantino, for your welcome speech and really welcoming us here to the home of FIFA. As we were sharing before, we really feel at home over here, since this is the second World Summit for Ethics and Leadership in Sports that we are hosting here. Excellencies, honored guests, and dear friends, a warm welcome to all of you to the second World Summit on Ethics and Leadership in Sports. On behalf of the Global Board of Directors of WFEB and the entire global team present here, we wish you a great day today and welcome you warmly. Also, a special welcome to all the distinguished speakers. Some of you have traveled straight from Rio, some from Canada, some as far as from Bangladesh. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and your presence here gives us the confidence that together as a collective we can do a lot for the world of sports. All the delegates present here and all joining virtually via live webcast, a hearty welcome to all of you. Mr. Infantino, we really want to thank the entire team of FIFA. Especially would like to mention a few names: Mr. Koch, Nadine, the entire security team, the media team, for the fantastic collaboration and cooperation in the organizing of the conference. I want to invite all of us to really celebrate them with a big round of applause. We met here exactly 2 years ago. In fact, it was even the same dates, around the same dates, at the first World Summit on Ethics and Leadership in Sports. And since then, the World Forum for Ethics in Business has continued its effort and initiatives towards good governance. Since then, we convened 2 global and 3 regional conferences in UK, Germany, the European Parliament. Our conference with partners Union Berlin in Germany saw us deepening our efforts on ethics in sports. And earlier this year, the Global Leadership Forum we had convened in Delhi, in India, saw close to 4,500 leaders from different sections of society deliberating on the important responsibility we hold as a global leadership community in shaping the world of the future. We are happy to share with you that in summer this year, WFEB became part of a global partnership launched by the World Bank Group, which consists of 76 global institutions like Harvard, Stanford, the UN, etc. This coalition has envisioned to work towards really tackling global challenges the world is facing. And as Christoph said before, we all meet here today connected with our love for sports, with our concern for sports and the values it stands for. Because sports inculcates and represents some incredible values: perseverance, personal excellence, resilience and respect for all, solidarity and sacrifice, teamwork and tenacity, fitness and friendship, and for me, above all, harmony and human values. So very briefly, I want to talk about 3 themes in my few words this morning. The first, sports, as we all know, has become a business. If you see some of the recent reports, the global sports market, including revenue brought in from sponsorship, gate fees, live sporting events, infrastructure, sporting goods, all of that is estimated to over $1 trillion. If you look at it, only a handful of countries have a GDP more than this. And a business as big as this, you would agree, would need rules and regulation, governance and compliance structures. But if we look around, you will also agree that these mechanisms of regulation and compliance of sports have not been able to keep pace with the speed at which sports is growing, and we are paying a price. Match fixing, doping, corruption, unfortunately have become more rampant than just being an exception. And the repercussions of this are not merely regulatory or financial. You know, when you see your favorite sports star being caught in an unethical act, or your favorite sports team being caught in an unethical practice, the breakdown of trust can really damage the very basis of human connections and convictions. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the root cause of such practices, and what is causing individuals to really engage in unethical practices that compromise personal name, goodwill, inviting sometimes even a lifetime of infamy and slander. And what, as Mr. Infantino says, we reflect society. So what are the changing societal norms that are causing such a rush for instant fame, power, and almost wealth? We, I think, have the responsibility to reflect and think about these topics seriously. We also understand that it's not just the individuals, but also institutional challenges. And yesterday, in fact, we launched a global interdisciplinary think tank to look at bringing together a coalition which can discuss the challenges that sports is facing. WFEB has promised to play the role of the convener of the think tank, to facilitate conversations and then be the conveyor of these suggestions to key decision makers around the world. Today, as we see in the program agenda, there are a lot of topics that are focused on the challenges that sports is facing. I invite all of us to really join these topics wholeheartedly and bring your ideas and suggestions to the table. The second theme that I want to talk about is, on the contrary, the beauty of sports, the values it stands for, and how much we can learn from it. Sportsmen and women are really towering examples of professionalism and excellence, and sports can unite the world in sentiment and emotion like nothing else much can. In fact, at the recent Olympics, the participation of the refugee team, there were 10 men and women who represented no country, representing literally 65 million people who have had to either flee or been displaced forcibly, the biggest crisis we have seen in the recent times. So sports has this power to bring about, to bring attention to global challenges and to forge international collaborations in a positive way. In fact, in our first summit, the founder of WFEB, Shri Ravi Shankar, espoused the unique strength that sports has to influence communities in many positive ways. So we have many topics around this theme today, and I invite you to participate in that as well. And as we heard later this afternoon, we will celebrate such positive role models of sport, and I urge you to stay on and encourage and celebrate these positive role models as we have the Sports Ethics in Sports Awards ceremony. And the third theme I want to talk about is keeping an eye on the future. As we get busy solving challenges that we are facing today, let's remember to keep an eye on what's coming ahead of us. You know, the landscape of sport is changing. What almost gets defined as sport is changing. Recently, I asked a 13-year-old son of a friend of mine, what sport do you play? And his answer was Pokemon Go. So when tennis can be virtually played in drawing rooms, and I come from India. Many of us play now cricket on the phone. How can we really bring our children back to the joy of pure sports? And how, in this increasingly digitalized world, what can megacities do to create that infrastructure, create those opportunities so we bring youth and children back to the joy of pure sports? I want to invite all of you experts here to really think about that as well. And at the end, I want to leave you with two memories that stayed with me from the recent Rio Games. The first, when Abby Agostino of the United States and Nikki Hamlin of New Zealand bumped into each other in the 5,000-meter qualifying race. Instead of looking the other way, the ladies supported each other, pulled each other up. Eventually, one of them completed the race, having had to go through a surgery almost at the end. And the other, where a swimmer from France and a swimmer from Italy were involved in an accident where the French swimmer almost was found to have nudged the other swimmer out of her way to get to the silver. She was stripped off her silver at the end. So the first example really showing the beauty of sports and what it stands for. The second example, its almost unbecoming face. I want to invite us to think that how all of us can repeatedly and consciously do what Abby and Nikki did. And look inward and ask ourselves, may we have some time in our life done, consciously or unconsciously, what the French swimmer did. we are but a microcosm of society and reflect back to it. So today, as we spend the day together, I invite you to talk about these issues openly, really debate passionately, so that we can come up with some great ideas, some tangible solutions for the beauty and world of sport. Because I do believe that, as you said, Mr. Infantino, if we decide to take leadership, we can do and bring about a change. So thank you once again for being here, and I wish you a great, inspiring, and enjoyable day ahead. Thanks again.